First and foremost, how did you get the gig?
I got a call from Nathaniel Townsley.
Okay.
You know Nat Townsley?
No.
Very good drummer in New York City. And he was looking for a sub for a couple of gigs.
Cool.
And I've always wanted to play with CHIC, so I had the opportunity to actually get in there and do some CHIC gigs, songs. I learned of most of the live performance. Mm-hmm. Niall came to a rehearsal with me and Jerry Barnes, it was just the three of us, and I played a portion of the set, and I think we did like 2 songs, and he said, "Okay, that's it, you're fine."
Can you remember what songs they were?
We did the medley.
Oh, right, okay.
We did I'm Coming Out, and we did the whole medley of the show. And we didn't even finish it. But he said, "No, you sound great, I'm good." And I'm like, wow, that's it.
Excellent.
They flew me to Switzerland, Gstaad. Never met the guys in the band. We went in, I did the show, and when I was done, they said, "Well, Niall really liked you, and he wants to know if you want to be in the band."
Right.
And I'm like, "Well, I'm only the sub for Nat, he said, "Well, Nat was like not really so much totally in yet."
Okay.
So, I just have a lot of respect for other people's positions.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to slight Nat or anyone else, but that's how I ended up getting into the band.
How many years ago was that?
10 years ago.
All right.
It's been 10 years for me now.
So you mentioned Jerry Barnes, your bass player.
Yes, the king.
Yeah. And I've a question here, which is yourself and the entire band seem to have an amazing rapport on stage. Everyone looks like they really enjoyed themselves. You mentioned earlier about the connection between yourself and Jerry.
Yes.
What sort of are the key ingredients do you feel that make a really strong rhythm section? Like, what are the sort of things you look out for in a bass player?
Mutual respect for what each person does.
Mm-hmm.
Mutual respect for their personalities and level of professionalism, and just knowing what to apply. Right. And just honestly, just being humble to the music.
Had you played together with other bands or other
Yes,
artists?
Jerry and I played together with a few different bands.
Okay.
Way back, I used to record with Jerry on some things with his projects. Then I discovered this guy named Mike Phillips, who ended up playing with Prince, and I got Jerry to play and actually produce 2 of the songs on Mike's record. Right. Jerry called me to play with Roberta Flack. Right. His sister Catrice Barnes, who's also a Grammy Award-winning artist. I played with her. Jerry's played with me on a few different things, and we have a great relationship. I mean, we're very close.
Yeah, he's a phenomenal
player
to watch. You both are.
He just won Song of the Year.
So believe.
Latin Grammy. So
excellent.
Congratulations, Jerry Barnes.
You mentioned earlier that you're really enjoying your teaching these days.
Yeah.
And that's what I do myself. A question that I get asked, or a statement that comes out of a lot of adult students is, "Look, I don't want to learn to read music, I just want to learn to play." Mm-hmm. But I find that a lot of adults try and steer away from reading music. Do you think that reading music is important to a musician, young or old? Does it make you a better player? What are your thoughts? Is it a necessity, or?
There's 2 sides. It's totally necessary and totally unnecessary, depending on where you want to be as far as a musician.
Yeah.
It's totally necessary if you want to be in an orchestra. It's totally necessary if you want to do jingle work. It's totally necessary if you want to do Broadway and different shows of that caliber.
Session work, I'm guessing.
Yeah. It's totally unnecessary if you're playing in a band where you can learn the music and be able to experiment. Yeah. It's totally unnecessary if you're hanging out with your friends and just jamming and want to just get into it. So there's 2 sides to it. I personally wanted to do both. Right. I taught myself how to read with the help of my drum corps instructor, Bobby Craig, just guiding me through things, just telling me to listen to different orchestrations and just see if you could follow it.
Was this when you were in school?
This is when I was in high school. Yeah,
Right.
I got into drum and bugle corps, which I still love, and
Right.
eventually will start in New York City. But
Right.
it just all depends on what you want as a musician.
Do you feel that the skills that you picked up then as a kid are still benefiting you now as a...
Absolutely, 100%, absolutely. Those skills that I learned back in drum corps are following me to this day. I'm talking about the discipline side of it, the rudimental side of it, the application side of it, the respect side. Is all still connected, to me.
Going back to CHIC and playing, as you said earlier, with Nile Rodgers, a legend in the music business, does he give you sort of free rein and license to do what you want in terms of fills, or is he looking over his shoulder sometimes saying, here, wind it in a bit, or...
Nile is one of the easiest people to work with.
Right.
He's the kind of guy that if you play something that you feel is good for the music and it doesn't work, let the idea kill itself.
Right.
Don't kill the idea. But he has a group of musicians that are all producers in their own right at different levels. So we understand a lot of times what to do inside of the music.
Yeah.
So he doesn't stop us. He doesn't say, don't play that or don't do that. Things have actually transitioned in the middle of a show, and then we go, wow, that was cool.
Right.
Let's do that again. So he's not like a taskmaster like that.
Okay.
No.
So that leads me on to my next question, which is, like you mentioned earlier, that in 2015 you did something like 150 shows together.
Yeah.
So I was going to ask you if, to keep things sort of interesting for yourself, do you tweak your parts much, or do you just once you have something you're comfortable playing, you pretty much keep it?
When you say tweak your parts, we are always trying to make the song better.
Right.
And if that is following an inflection that someone did and they did it again, then we might just fall into that. If the singer does something that she consistently does, we might just fall into that.
Yeah.
But for the sake of just boredom, a lot of times we're trying to play that music so accurate.
Yeah.
Because the goal is to translate what we're doing outward. We want to evoke the memories of what people heard.
Yeah.
So we're not really trying to do a whole lot of different things.
Plus you're trying to stay true to the original record, which is why people are there.
Even with my drum tuning, I try to tune the drums like Tony tuned the drums. I try to respect the directions that he went in, and it's been working. To me, it's never about me. It's always about the music. Never about me. I have nothing to do with it. It's about what the music is asking for, and that's in all situations.
And did you ever use a click or anything like that live to keep things locked in with the rest of the band, or?
The only time I use a click is during the very first song when we start dance, dance, dance.
Right.
It's very important to get that tempo right, because once that tempo is correct, it basically dictates throughout the show, because we now know what that feel is. And I'll give you an example. If we're rehearsing a song and it's out of the tempo of what we normally do, it's out of the sequence of what we normally do, the tempo usually isn't right until we do it within the sequence of the show. Right,
I get it.
Because it's now built into our my DNA.
It's like a muscle memory.
Right, exactly. So if they say, okay, let's do a song like this, let's rehearse a piece of Good Times. I usually feel like it's not right because it didn't come in the right way. And I think most musicians feel that way. And I could be right or wrong, but I'm like, okay, it's just the sequence of events that makes the tempos right for me, the way we rehearse and the way we play it in the show like that.
Excellent.
But I start with a click.
All right, cool.
First song,
and listen, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us this evening and taking the time to do the clinic. Just one more question.
Yes,
Do you have any idea when you might be back in Belfast as in a teaching capacity or performing?
Well, I was just asked right before I walked in here about doing something with an orchestra.
Oh wow.
For next year. So I don't know when it's going to happen, but I'm excited about it. I can't really talk about it yet.
Okay.
But believe me, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to be really great.
Excellent.
So I'm looking forward. And I love, again, if Belfast wants me to come back to teach, to talk, I will absolutely.
Well, I'd love a lesson myself.
Well, absolutely. The way how I approach lessons is not about playing Ralph Rolle. It's about playing you, the techniques I give you to expose more of who you are. Not play me, play you.
And do you have, is there lessons or tutorials on your website or? Yeah,
on my website, ralphrolle.com. I have one particular lesson. It's a nice little thing called a diddle bop. It was originally arranged by a drummer named Frankie Nash. They call him Fast Frankie.
Right.
And it's a very fun exercise to do. I'm going to start adding more video tips and things, but I love teaching. Teaching is the best.
Likewise.
Thank
you very much again, and you're always welcome in Belfast.
www.ralphrolle.com. I hope to see you there. Thank you very much.
Cheers.